Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning back here again for another video. This is Son of Liberty. In today's video, we're going to be taking a closer look at a different technique used to mitigate recoil while shooting a carbine on the move. So one of the things, guys, I have always heard and been taught earlier in my classes that I had taken is that, you know, with a carbine or with any gun for that matter, you want the stock of the gun buried into the pocket of your shoulder. You want to sometimes, if you're able to, roll that shoulder in to kind of trap the stock in that pocket. You want that really nice solid cheek weld. You want that cheek weld to be the same every single time. And that was the way that I'd always been taught. Well, Aaron had started to give us a different look on managing recoil while shooting on the move. And shooting on the move is something that I feel is absolutely critical, whether it's a carbine or whether it's a handgun, especially in a self-defense situation. So without further ado, guys, let's tune in while Aaron, former Navy SEAL and instructor for Fieldcraft Survival, explains this new technique.
When you're not moving, right? That's great. It's very stable. It gives you 3 points of contact, 1, 2, 3. It's a good stable platform, right? If you're sitting somewhere, it's great. But if you're moving, if you notice, when this is here and it's attached to my body, what happens? There's a lot of bounce, right? Even if I try to like keep it steady, it's still moving more than I want it to. My red dot's all over the place. But if I put this on my actual cheek weld and just move it forward just a little bit, if I disengage this stock from my shoulder, from my body, and I move, it's a lot faster, it's a lot more stable. You want to see that? Versus being attached, it's kind of moving. When it's just forward a couple inches, it's a lot more stable. The old traditional way was to hold your, with your sport hand, hold that and pull it in your body, right? These rifles don't kick straight back, right? This is not your pawpaw shotgun, right? So these rifles actually kick this way. It doesn't really even kick back, right? So there's really no point in grabbing this rail and pulling it back and having it stable. You don't really need that, right? That's where that C-clamp that Dave was going over really comes into, comes into play. Because all you're really doing is you're C-clamping this, you're holding it down, and then you're using your firing hand on that grip to really vise that grip in and to hold that down, right? So whenever you're floating, that's really the only purpose. So people think that floating maybe might, well, it needs to be on my chest when I move. It doesn't, because these rifles don't kick like that, right? So when it's moving up, the C-clamp is what's holding it down. This firing hand is what's vicing that rifle in, pressing this stock to my cheek. So it's 3 points of contact, right? 1, 2, and then my cheek. So having this on there, 1, 2, you're really holding this down, keeping this forward, keeping it from moving up. So these don't kick back, they more or less do this, right? That's what the C-clamp is for, right? We were joking this morning calling it the clip, whatever you want to call it, C-clip or clamp, right? Boom, boom, third point of contact on my cheek, moving forward. That's how you hold that down. You can do that all day long.
Guns up, sights on. Move. Nice. Way to stay cognitive.
Thanks, man.
All right, guys, so what did you guys think about that technique? Was that something that you guys had learned about before or heard about? Or was this something that was a new technique to you guys as it was to me? Now, one of the things that I felt was beneficial to using this technique is that some of the drills would require us to move in a particular direction. Now, I'm right-handed, and so if I was engaging targets to my left, I felt like I had more freedom of movement when it came to my field of fire, because I felt like that my head, when I disconnected this from the shoulder, right, I felt like that I had more movement of my head. And again, my field of fire, I didn't feel as bound up as I would by sucking this into the shoulder pocket and then moving my carbine to the left. Again, it was just something that I experienced, again, that may be beneficial to you. So one of the things that I felt like was worth mentioning is if you guys are running an LPVO like what I've got here on this carbine, this method may or may not work for you depending on your eye relief on your particular setup. So, you know, one of the things that some people run into is that when they set their optic up, depending on, you know, how forward that it is on the gun, it can really occlude your field of view depending on how far away that you are from your actual optic, okay? So a lot of people have the tendency to really get sucked into the optic, and these things are really designed to be more close versus a unlimited eye relief, such as what's on a red dot. So as you push the gun away from the shoulder, you may see your field of view start to occlude. And so those are some things to kind of keep in mind again. But for the most part, I think that this technique should work with most optics on today's market. All right, guys, so that's going to be a wrap on today's video. I hope that you guys found it beneficial. And again, I know that this may not be for everybody depending on your level of training with a carbine, but I felt like it was something that should be beneficial to most new shooters. So anyway, guys, if you're not a subscriber, consider smashing that subscribe button, hit this like button, share this video, comment on it. All those things help this video get seen more. And I want to thank you guys so much for your continued support. Lots more to come, guys. Till that next video, take care, be safe.